been a while since I've done a what sold, so today we are going to dive in and take a look at my best and worst sales on all of the platforms that I'm selling on, though let's be honest, it's mostly eBay at the moment, for March 2026. Let's jump into it. So yeah, it has been a while since I've done one of these videos, so I figured why not? Let's share what's going on in my business. And the reality is it's a little bit slower at the moment. Yeah, sales have been down for a while now. I think I'm sitting like against the revenue target I set myself for the 12 months. I think I'm about 20% off of that. So what I'm focusing more on is whether I'm paying myself enough, having gone part-time in my employment, to sort of, keep on top of my budget. So that's my main measure of success currently. I'm about to go on a holiday as well. So my store is about to be in vacation mode for about 2 weeks over April. And then after that, I think I'm going to try to do a bit of a dive in and see if I can breathe some new life into my store. So not pushing too hard on the sales front at the moment, just trying to make sure that I'm buying the right things, I'm listing the right things, and have a little bit of that activity ticking over, and then hopefully kind of a big refresh once I'm back and feeling fantastic after some time off. So March was a bit of a slower month, so I think my target that I wanted to hit was around $5,000 for the month. I did fall short of that. I made $3,501 in sales for the month. I sold 41 items, so that gave me an average sales price of about $85.39. So fairly comfortable with that. It's not as high as it has been in the past. For a few months there, I was sitting around $100 average sales price. But the key thing is that my profit margin has remained pretty consistent. I'm sitting at 50% for the month of March, but also over the 12 months kind of rolling period. So happy with that. Strong profit in what I am listing and selling through, even though my revenue is not quite where I would like it to be. But as I said, paying myself enough, that is the key measure for me at the moment. And probably to share with you as well, what eBay has been paying for is the trip that I'm about to take. So I'm going to Tassie with my partner for 10 days, and eBay has funded that whole trip. And we have not skimped on things like accommodation. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm very thankful to have had, reselling to pay for that and not have to factor that into just my regular old budget. With that though, let's start with my very worst sales for the month. I'll share my 3 worst sales. And yeah, I had been in February focusing on turning over some older stock. I've got some stock in my store that has been hanging around for close to the 2-year mark that I really just want to move on. So February, I did some low kind of starting cost auctions, I call them last chance auctions, to try to clear out some of that older stock, and some of that carried over a little bit into the early March period. So I think one of these sales, my very worst sale, was actually one of those auction sales. The other 2 just coincidentally offers that I got on items that I was targeting to move on, so I decided to accept them anyway, take a chance on, I guess, what I would normally consider low ballers. And so far so good. Haven't had any returns from those items, and I think I've had some positive feedback on at least one of them. So yes, while these are my worst sales based on my net profit, I'm actually quite happy to see the back of these items. Now, as I'm sharing these numbers, a couple of things to consider. They do include my postage costs, simply because that's how I track them in my spreadsheet. And then obviously my fees and my actual cost of post gets deducted from that, and that's reflected in the net profit. And the other thing is here, I am rounding to the nearest dollar. So not gonna get all caught up in dollars and cents. We're just talking about high level dollars. So just in case what you're seeing in the little screenshots is a little different, that is why. So my 3rd worst sale for the month, this was a chic dress. And I do talk all the time when I do thrift hauls about I love a chic find. This is a style that I would absolutely be steering clear of at the moment. So it was a very cute little gingham number. It was like a faux wrap style, like a bit of a skirt wrap detail at the front in a semi-sheer fabric, black and white, and I believe about a size 16. So it did have some things going for it, which is why I picked it up. My buy-in also was, you know, not too bad. It was $10.50, the cost of this one, but you know, she was sitting around for a while. This one was at about the 8-month mark. So when I got an offer, I decided just to move it on. This one ended up selling on eBay for $40.95. And after all said and done, my profit was $15.93. So not the worst, you know, I still made more profit than I, you know, paid for the item. But this is a style that I probably would be steering away from when I'm seeing that brand like chic in the op shop at the moment. My second worst sale for the month, similarly, is also a brand that I talk about all the time that I love to find, and that is Baird footwear. These were the Dove Key sneaker. So that's probably the key thing here. I do tend to move away from sneaker styles now, but I picked these ones up almost 2 years ago. I'm fairly certain that I actually grabbed these when I did a sourcing trip with Liv. We went to Noosa, and I think I found these in a Vinnie's there, and I paid $30 for them, which at the time I was happy to do. I was regularly paying that amount for Baird and having good success. These were also in near new condition. They were really, really lovely. They had some nice sort of laser cut detailing, almost like a brogue style, but in a sneaker. And I ended up accepting an offer for these. So while they weren't included in those last chance auctions, these would absolutely have been on my list for the next round. So when that offer came through, I was happy just to move them on and get them out. So they ended up selling for about $59, and that left me with a profit of about $5 after all said and done. So to have sat in my store for close to 2 years after paying $30 for them, absolutely not worth it. Thankfully, you know, I made a profit on these ones. Worst case, they would have sold for a loss in auctions in the next round. But yeah, I'm definitely steering clear of these types of styles. I'm curious though to know if anyone has kind of the opposite luck for me. I know that what sells for one might not sell for the other. So if this is something that you think would have sold in your store, let me know in the comments below. Always really, really curious to know what sells well for you. And my very worst sale in the month of March. This was a fail at online sourcing. I don't know what's going on with this brand and style for me. It used to be a winner, but that is Scanlan Theodore. This was a crepe knit dress, had a nice kind of like turtle or mock neck, long sleeve. I bought it really in time for that winter season when I thought this would be a no-brainer. I paid $29 for this item, which again, something I would regularly pay for Scanlan Theodore, for that quality, that brand, and I thought I was onto a winner. Clearly not with this one. This did sell on eBay for $34.35. So you can see immediately with a buy-in cost there of $29, and we've got to take out post and fees. I'm not making money on this item. So I actually made a loss on this one of $11.23. The aim of the game here is just recovering some of that cash that I initially outlaid, rather than, you know, possibly donating this as dead stock to an op shop. So it's about that cash flow, moving that item on and making room for something new in my store. So this hung around, I think, for about 20 months. So very, very close to that 2-year mark, and happy to get it gone. So there we go. That's my worst sales. But now on to the fun stuff. Good sales. We love good sales. I love good sales. Let's go through my top 10. And at number 10, we have a brand that I thrift regularly in a style that I don't. And that is Veronica Main dresses. Typically with Veronica Main, I will pick up pants. I love finding them. I can generally find them at a reasonable cost, in good sizes, nice fabrics, fits. The dresses, however, in recent years, I have steered clear of. I found that they're just kind of not it for me. I don't know why. This one though, this was a lovely kind of, it's more of a winter style plaid maxi dress, had long sleeves, very nice soft fabric, and it had its original belt in, I think, a size 14. I should have checked these details honestly before I started filming this video. So this one, yeah, there was something about it. I think it was just the combination of the kind of the plaid detailing, the length of it, like a combination there that kind of made me think this is something that's going to sell well. And thankfully, on this occasion, I was proven correct. So this sold on eBay via offer after about 2 months of being sourced. So nice, quick turnaround on this one. I did pay $25 there. So again, when this is an item that I wouldn't typically thrift, that's probably one that I want to do a bit more research, like comps on before I buy. But it did go on to sell for $106. So I was right about this one. I was absolutely on to a winner here. So the profit on this one was $46. So for a quick return, that's, you know, something that I'll definitely kind of store in the back of my mind, that these types of styles for Veronica Main are ones that I should be on the lookout for a little more. Next up, we have this stunning green pair of Witchery linen blend pants. These were also a plus size 18, so they had a lot going for them. I am surprised they took as long to sell as they did though. So these ones took 6 months to sell. They sold via Depop on offer. These are actually the only sale I have to show you in this video that came from a platform other than eBay. I don't know, eBay was just popping off for me for best and worst this month. But they, for a long time there, they were actually my most watched item on eBay. They had something like 25 to 30 watches on them, and I was like, surely someone wants these, only for them to then sell on Depop. You know, sometimes you just can't pick it. I paid $20 for these, so again, probably on the higher end for a pair of Witchery pants, but when you do consider that they were a plus size, which you don't come across often in Witchery, the color and the fabric content, they were really what got me over the edge to pay that amount for this particular pair of pants. And they sold for a total of $87, which left me again with about a $46 net profit after all said and done. At number 8, we have this really cute Country Road metallic pleated dress, had the nice halter neck detail. This one had the potential to go completely awry. So I lodged my post at Australia Post parcel lockers in the morning because I don't have kind of a close enough by post office that I can actually get to during the day. So the parcel lockers give me the security that I get a scan with Australia Post, and then they're generally collected within a business day. But that starts the tracking off to the customer to say, hey, this has been collected, it's on the way. These ones, something went wrong. I lodged them at a parcel locker, and then when they were picked up, they were actually scanned into the local post office as awaiting collection. The customer notified me of it kind of really early. This is something that I've seen before, and it's typically something that gets rectified pretty quickly when they get on to, like, you know, the next point in the process. They get another scan, it's on its way, it's all good. These ones, the post office held on to them. It was actually 3 packages, but this was the customer that pointed out the issue for me. So thankfully it got onto Australia Post. I chatted to someone really helpful, and they got them kind of on the move. But this was like 3 days after they'd already been lodged, and I was kind of just waiting for that scan. So learning on me, next time I'll probably be a bit more proactive with contacting Australia Post and just making sure things are moving. It did really have that, I guess, opportunity to be a negative customer experience. Thankfully, both this customer and the other customer that were affected by this issue were very, very understanding, and you know, that has now been resolved. But yeah, it was my 8th best sale of the month, so I'll share that little fun story, not so fun story with you. So I again sold this one via eBay offer for $78. This one I actually had no buy-in cost for, and that is as a result of an Opshop loyalty program. So my entire cost of goods for this one was wiped out by the discount that I received by using a full kind of Lifeline card for the purchase cost. Turnaround time on this one was also pretty decent. This was 4 months to sell from the time that I sourced it. Typically I like to move my items through the store within 3 months, but if we've got to wait another month or 2, that is totally fine by me, especially when I'm making $52 worth of profit on an item that I had 0 buy-in for. At number 7, we have another one of the parcels that was impacted by that same Australia Post issue. This is a Montaigne Paris. This was the Alice dress, really lovely corduroy in a blue color. And as you'll see a little bit later on, I actually sold 2 of these in the month to the same customer. So they were both impacted by that parcel delivery issue, but thankfully another very understanding customer there. So this one sold via eBay offer for $86, and I only had a buy-in cost of $5.25, which I was surprised at. Normally when I see Montaigne, it's probably more toward the $15-20 end of the pricing kind of spectrum, if we want to call it that, but it's one that I love to find. I've never had an item hang around long in my store when I've picked up Montaigne, and this was no exception. This sold after 2.5 months, leaving me with a net profit of about $53. At number 6, we have the only pair of shoes this month to make it into my top 10 sales. This pair of Frankie 4 Kaale flats. They were a beautiful woven leather slingback style, and I was not surprised that these ones sold as quickly as they did either. These ones moved through my store in less than a month. I did accept an offer on eBay for these ones for $139. Originally, I paid $45 and it left me with a net profit of $54. At number 5, we have a Veronica Main item that absolutely is one that I would pick up any day of the week, and that is this pair of high-rise wide leg pants. They had this really nice pattern. It's maybe like a jacquard fabric, like in the fabric itself, in a size 16. So again, love to see it in an op shop, and do find that I find 14s to 16s fairly frequently in Veronica Main pants, and they quite often move through very quickly. This was actually a full price sale on eBay as well, so they sold for a total of $103, and they moved through my store also within about a month. Originally, I paid $14 for this pair of pants, so that is pretty much the sweet spot for a style like this. I'll pay a little more depending on the fabric content and the sizing, but $14 absolutely is a no-brainer for me, and I made a profit of $56 on this one pair of pants. At number 4, we have the second Montaigne dress. So as I mentioned, these both went to the same customer. They were the exact same style in 2 different colors. So this one was this lovely tan brown color, again the nice corduroy, very, very soft fabric. It was really, really lovely. My buying price was the same for this one, $5.25, and I actually accepted an offer on this one too. So this one, the offer came in first and I accepted, so it was $101. When the second one came in and I knew that I could move them both together, I was happy to take a little bit of a lower offer on the second one just to move them through. And again, like same time to sell, I sourced them together, I sold them together. So they were only in my store for 2.5 months, and I made $65 net profit on this one. All right, we are into the top 3. We are nearly there. All 3 of these I was really stoked with this month though. Starting off with this one that surprised me. So this is Mella Purdy. This was this really, really stunning, vibrant purple technical polyester dress. Had some nice ruffle detailing in the front and did have its original belt as well, in a size 14. Mella Purdy, how do I say this? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And it's not something that I have sourced a lot of. In the early days of thrifting, I picked it up here and there. I didn't have a lot of success with it, and so I just stopped picking it up. This style, I've been chatting a bit to Liv, who I know on her videos shares that she likes Mella Purdy. So I decided to take a bit of a gamble with it based on those few things: the color, the details, and the technical polyester, which I know, even though I don't like man-made fibers so much, I know sells in some styles. When I say this dress sold within minutes of listing, minutes, for full price. So I was blown away by that. This was another eBay sale. My buy-in here was $30. So did I have a minute where I nearly left this behind because I don't like the brand? Yes, I did for that cost. Do I need to rethink that in future? Yes, I absolutely do. Sale price here was $153, so my profit on this item was $95. So as I mentioned, it sold within minutes of listing, so it moved through my store in far less than a month, and it's definitely something that I'll need to have on my radar. I know that when I find it, I'll have to comp, you know, to be confident picking up this brand in the future, but definitely something that, yeah, I need to learn from, and I probably need to look out for a bit more. My second best sale for the month, it was this absolutely stunning Sharina maxi dress. This was in their typical viscose silk blend fabric, some really, really stunning detail. This was like a tropical with animals, not like animal print, but actual animals. Like it had toucans and jaguars and like all of these animals on it, and the embellishments as well. So it had all of the rhinestone detailing. It was tasseled. It had the beaded sort of drawstrings, and it was new with tags. So really, really stunning. I paid $75 for this one. I actually picked this up in a boutique op shop at their half price sale. So yeah, I was very, very happy to find it during their half price. I wouldn't have paid $150 to resell this one, but very comfortable paying $75. And I accepted an offer on eBay of $236 for this dress. Now it did take a while to sell. This was in my store for 9 months, but it made me $105 worth of profit. So even though that is probably one of those longer tail items, you've got to wait to find the right buyer. In this instance, it was absolutely worth it, and I would hands down pick this up again if I found it in the same circumstances. And here we go. Number 1, my very, very best sale for the month of March. This was the Age Signal shirt dress in this stunning mint green color, and this was a full price eBay sale. Originally I paid $45 for this dress. I found this locally, which I was very, very surprised to find this in the particular op shop that I did, particularly to find it what I consider reasonably priced. So yeah, I grabbed that one very, very quickly. It was also a size 12, so right in that sweet spot of items that I like to have in my store. And it went on to sell within 2.5 months for $263. Love to see it. So my net profit after postage and fees on this one was $154. So yeah, I don't see these styles very often in my local area. I will be crossing everything to come across something like this again in the future that I can move through quickly and for that kind of profit. But there you go. Those are my best and worst sales. That's what's moving through my store at the moment. As I said, you know, April, I am probably taking my foot off the accelerator a little bit. So my store is going to be on holiday mode for about the 2-week mark. I'm expecting some sales to trickle in. I'll still have it enabled so that I can make some sales on eBay. But for, Depop, designer wardrobe, vestiaire, I will be on holiday mode and unable to make sales on those platforms. So I'm really, really interested to see what kind of impact that has for me for this month. And then hoping that when I come back, I can kind of have a bit of a reset, strategize on how I want to breathe some new life into my business and hopefully kind of reinvigorate some of that movement, make a bit more revenue in the back end of the calendar year. So if you've enjoyed this video, please let me know. I am trying to bring out a video a month at the moment. I'm on track for the year to do so. I'll try to slip a few more of these what solds in amongst the other content that I'm doing. If you do like content around, thrifting items, flipping them online in Australia, please make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I am not going to stop talking about it. I hope that you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.